Hey, happy day after Christmas 2019. I'm in the mood to play the blues a little bit, and this is going to be my last video of the year. So I thought it would be appropriate to do a little bit of this stuff. So what I'm going to show you tonight is how to work with only two fingerings on the inside four strings of the guitar, and to be able to take those two fingerings and put together rhythm parts by visualizing them four different ways on the neck of the guitar. Those two chord fingerings are going to be this G ninth chord. Okay, remember a ninth chord is kind of like a dominant seventh chord. That's the basic chord in the blues. The ninth chord is wearing a little fancier suit than the dominant seventh does, so it's cool for a lot of stuff. So now, there's no root in the voicing of this chord. You can visualize the root by seeing your thumb here on string 6 at fret 3, but hey, why not let the bass player have that note? Okay, here's how you want to work through the fingering for the G ninth chord. Now, it's a G ninth because I'm working off of the root here on string 6, fret 3. So I'm going to build the rest of the chord with my first finger on string 5, fret 2, my third finger, string 4, fret 3, my second finger, string 3, fret 2, and my pinky finger on string 2, fret 3. Okay, first finger, third finger, second finger, fourth finger, roll through them. Great sound. We're going to be doing all of this stuff in the key of G. And then the first thing that we're going to do is figure out how to take that single chord fingering and play an entire blues chord progression with it. So I'm going to use a drum loop just to kind of liven things up a little bit, and I'll count that in and play through the chords a couple times for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the other two chords in that blues key are going to be a C ninth, which I came up to the 7th and 8th frets to play. Its root would be on string 6 here at fret 8. And the third chord is a D ninth chord. Its root is here on string 6, fret 10. And the fingering that I'm using is going to fall on frets 9 and 10. Now, if you're up on your chord theory, then we're using the Roman numeral 1, 4, and 5 chords to play in this key. So G ninth is 1, C ninth is 4, based on the 4th note of the scale, and then the Roman numeral 5 chord is D, based on the 5th note of the scale. So as I said, one chord fingering in 3 locations, and I can work up a pretty cool, straight ahead, but rich sounding blues rhythm part. Now the second chord fingering is going to take its root from string 5. So if I'm still in the key of G, my first location for that is going to be up here on the 10th fret of the 5th string. So you're going to see my second finger there. My first finger is going to be on the 4th string at the 9th fret, and then my third finger is going to bar strings 3 and 2. Those of you who have seen this chord form before know that you can actually extend it across to string 1 if you want to. I'm just not going to bother to do that because I'm sticking to that inside 4-string thing. Now what you're going to see here is that G is on fret 10. Remember, that's your 1 chord. C, your 4 chord, down here on fret 3, and then D, your 5 chord, is down here on fret 5. So, again with the drums, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, another example, playing all the way through the key twice, using just one chord form in 3 different locations. Now, at this point, if you're paying any attention, you're probably going to say, well, hey, it looks like you're playing a lot more than just 3 chords, and that's because I'm using a device that we generally refer to as tension chords, which means I can approach that primary chord. Let's go back to the G ninth. From 1 fret below, slide up into it, or go 1 fret above, come back down. You can even use them both. I did that a couple times. When you do that, you got to be careful not to hang on any of the tension chords so long that it kind of distracts the ear and makes the ear think that that's actually the primary fingering. That's not what you want. But it does go a long way towards creating a whole lot more of a sense of motion. And it sounds, more complicated, like it's trickier to play, and it really isn't. It takes a little practice to get used to blending in those tension chords, but really, once you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so we've got 2 of our 4 ways, both of them, or each of them, I should say, using one fingering and moving along the neck. Now, the problem with that is if your tempos get faster, then you're going to have a hard time connecting those long jumps along the neck and making everything sound smooth. There are also other chord connections that are possible when your hand doesn't have to move as far at any tempo. And so what we're going to do now is kind of work off an L shape on the fretboard, meaning that I'm going to find my G chord root as before on string 6, fret 3. Now my C chord root is going to be here, string 5, fret 3, and my D chord root will be here, string 5, fret 5. Okay, so now when I play my G ninth chord, it's going to be right there. Here's my C ninth, hardly any movement at all. Take it up a couple of frets to get the D, and back down to the G. Okay, so that's going to be the first way to do it, combining the 2 fingerings into a smaller area of the fretboard and making it possible to get some different sounding chord connections like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and last, the 4th way of doing this is going to be move the 1 chord up here to string 5, fret 10, and then I'm going to find the roots for my 4 chord and 5 chord on string 6 at frets 8 and 10, the notes C and D respectively. You might notice, not that it's any big deal, but it's kind of interesting, that whatever string is carrying the 1 chord, Roman numeral 1 chord, the roots for the other chords, 4 and 5, will show up on the other bass string. Okay, same thing here. When my 1 chord is on string 5, then my 4 and 5 chord roots are going to be on string 6. Okay, this last way of doing it. And 1, 2, 3. 3, 4. So I hope the use of the tension chords, which is a sound you could probably tell I really like, isn't too confusing. It's really a pretty simple device. You've heard it a million times. But what you want to locate first are the primary chords, the G ninth, C ninth, and D ninth, down in the lower L-shaped pattern, and in the upper L-shaped pattern, G ninth, C ninth, and D ninth. Okay? Now, of course, you can play them in any groove, any tempo you want, but it's a really cool way to get a lot of mileage out of just 2 chords. People will think you're a genius for getting so much out of so little, and it's really a fun way to play. So, anyway, I will see you next year. In the meantime, have fun and play the blues.